as a definition for life, genetic replication is quite lacking, isn't it? Because think about what we're trying to incorporate in this reductive explanation of life, of just genes replicating. We're trying to incorporate all of human experience, right? I mean, if humans are animals, if Homo sapiens evolved from other primates, apes, mammals, back down the chain to the first single-celled, non-nucleated organism, human beings are related to that. Our experience, our morality, our society, our politics, our science, it's all contained in this expression of some animal, some living system. We're saying that is all genetic replication. So we're trying to squeeze a lot of stuff that's pretty complex into this single cause, this single explanation, that it is the molecules at the center of your cells. That's what's controlling everything. And we can understand this in a totally non-teleological way. I don't think this works. Because what is teleology? I mean, we have a legal system, right, as human beings. We hold one another accountable for our actions. And this implies that we feel responsible for what we do. Otherwise, why would we agree to such a crazy idea that, we could actually be punished for something that our bodies happen to do, Because if you really think everything's determined, then that's ultimately what you're saying about yourself. You're saying, I don't control this, If I rape somebody, hey, it's just what my nerves wanted to do. I didn't have a say. So a legal system is impossible if determinism is true. But let's say that we do consider ourselves to be human beings, and we do participate in a legal system because we know at an intuitive, emotional level that it must be so, just because we love at least certain other human beings, and we certainly feel obligated to cooperate with most other human beings. So we're kind of, we're in a situation where if we think that reductionistic materialism is true, while we also know intuitively that we must participate in human society and pretend like freedom is possible and responsibility is possible, it creates a schizophrenic psyche that's divided amongst itself, trying to live in two completely contradictory realities at the same time. That doesn't work. So if we're going to say that Darwinian evolution is true, and it explains everything, Neo-Darwinian evolution, which has incorporated not only natural selection and adaptation, but the theory of the genome, if we're going to say that that's true and that's the whole story, then human life is impossible. Freedom is impossible. Responsibility, and therefore society, is impossible. So, what seems to be at first a science is really a political statement about the nature of human existence, a pretty pessimistic statement about the nature of human existence. And that needs to be considered, even though it's supposed to be science. It's no longer science when it makes such claims, is what I'm saying. And it shouldn't be treated as science, as an objective statement about the factual, empirical data about the world. It's also a value judgment about that world. It can't escape from being such. Because that's what evolution tells us ultimately, that our values and our facts, our morality, our religion, and our science are not living in separate spheres of reality. They're part of a whole existence called being human. And you can't reduce all of them to replicating molecules, because you're ignoring, to do that, you're ignoring most of what is real. Reductionistic neo-Darwinism, the kind of science that would say that Darwinian progress is never teleological, is basically a form of Platonism that's saying that this completely otherworldly abstraction called genetic information is in control of the world we actually experience. So that what we actually experience is completely illusory. We just are looking at the shadows on the cave wall. What's real is what underlies our lives. These genetic codes, these eternal ideas. It's a form of Platonism. And usually, we think of, Aristotle was the more scientific one. Plato was just this mystic. So, maybe neo-Darwinism isn't as scientific or empirical as we would think. Maybe it's not based in experience, but based on this abstraction from experience. That the DNA is the program being selected by this pre-given environment out there, this objective world, which itself is just a giant computer as well. And it's incoherent, really. I mean, if you do consider yourself human and alive and sentient and emotional, if you do have goals for your life, if you do have people that you love, so in other words, that's a goal for your life. You're trying to do something, protect someone, be with, make happy someone. That's, all of your life is based in the idea that purposes are real. So to say that a science which denies that possibility is true is a bit. It's just, for me, it's awkward. Like to pretend as though that were a coherent understanding of reality, that you could really be that divided and act wisely in a reality. I mean, because that confuses me too much, and I think we can have a more coherent view than that, but we have to unify or recognize as codependent certain characteristics which formerly we like to assume were completely separate. Like the truth and what we value. Facts and values, we pretend those are separate. Matter and mind, we pretend those are separate. Good and evil, me, or self and other, me and you. These aren't separate substances. These are part of, these are the poles of a single process. And I guess that's threatening or frightening, because it does require a bit of letting go of something which used to serve as a foundation for your existence, but the foundation was also a source of great tension and stress, I think. And by letting it go, you have no need to fear the result of that. It's actually quite blissful. But what evolution is, what evolution isn't, I don't know if anybody can be sure, but we try.